This episode of Outdoor Journal Radio is brought to you in part by the Invasive Species Centre, protecting Canada's land and water from invasive species. Freedom Cruise Canada, rent the boat, own the memories. And J&B Cycle and Marine, your home for all things power sports, boats, and equipment. Oh, yes, it's always nice to hear.
What happened?
I don't know how they get all those people in here.
Oh.
That's what I don't understand.
As you were looking at me, I thought there was something happened there.
I just like looking at you. I just like looking at you.
Well, I'm glad you do, because my wife doesn't even look at me anymore. She'll have a conversation like this. So, Peter, you're over there. Yeah, honey?
Yeah.
What cat?
I know.
Yeah.
I get the same.
I'm hideous. That's what, like Kramer. I'm hideous. Don't look at me. I'm hideous.
Welcome to the program. Angelo Viola, Peter Bowman, and Dean Taylor at your service.
Hi.
And today's podcast will be answering, hopefully, a lot of questions that we've been getting very recently.
Yeah, weird. Oddly, eh?
Well, it's not weird. It's not. It's very...
Well, I mean, there's a lot of distance to this, and I mean, there's an exotic factor to it.
No, it's a TV show that's airing right now. You go.
I know that, but they're asking about like more than usual, and
because we just aired a wonderful 2-part series on the Atlantic fishery for tuna. Bluefin tuna.
And the first episode went over really well on YouTube. Oh my God, it's blowing up. So it was like great.
And so people are starting to realize, hey, you know what, I guess that could be considered exotic fall things, right? And it's right here in our own country, and it's a relatively short drive for most of us. I mean, I say relatively short drive because for me, anything under 2 days is a pretty short drive. Mm-hmm. And accessing our East Coast fishery in Canada, if you're in the central part of the country, is not that big of a deal. It's fairly easy to get to. The infrastructure is wonderful. That's the other thing that we'll talk about here in a moment, I'm sure. But it's just a great fishery if you're on that list of people that have done it all and are looking for something totally different. And maybe you're contemplating making trips to other countries, especially in the southern hemisphere, for billfish or any exotic, gigantic fish. I guess the bluefin tuna kind of tops them all.
It's a pretty big animal, that's for sure.
And it's
pretty
right
strong.
Here. And
pretty tough.
So today we're going to talk about that. Before we do any of such things, I want to remind folks of the wonderful experience awaiting at fishingcanada.com. Especially,
I like that. That was
good. It's true. Shop.fishingcanada.com. All of the lovely swag, some of it Mr. Bowman and I are modeling today.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Wonderful, beautiful hoodies.
Beauty.
And they're so soft. They're like, they
feel baby's bottom.
No, I tell people.
Say that. I don't think you can say that anymore now.
No, because baby's bottom doesn't do it justice. It's like the inside of a puppy's ear.
This room smells like a baby's bottom today.
The inside of a puppy's ear. Have you ever run your finger on the inside of a puppy's ear? Well, that's what the experience you'll get if you get one of these Fishing Canada hoodies, because it feels just like that.
Let's even expand on that, and just a dog's ear in general, because my dog's ears are still the softest things you'll ever touch. It's like, I think he thinks I'm doing it for him, and I'm doing it for me.
That's nice. We'll get a few.
No. Rubbing a dog's ears is the best. They love it. Oh my God, they love it. Yeah, these are great. That's it.
Yeah, that's enough, Dean. I don't want to go too far because we'll be sold out if we keep it to that. Season 40 is upon us. For those of you who have been sleeping and hibernating and just getting out, we started airing our 40th anniversary season mid-January of this year, and we're about halfway through, I believe.
Yeah,
we're just
pretty close to it, I'd say.
Past the halfway mark. Yeah. And a couple of those episodes that have aired, we're going to talk about here shortly regarding the bluefin tuna. But all of the episodes this year seem to be getting a little extra oompa.
Yeah, they do.
Right?
I mean, we're noticing it on the digital side right now. I mean, I haven't looked at the numbers on television this year yet. I'm wondering how they're looking still. I wonder how TV is rating now compared to the 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
TV is growing, believe it or not. The numbers on television.
Okay, good.
But not like in huge numbers. And the reason for that is that really it didn't sag as badly as most people think. To the digital distribution of our show anyways. I can't
Right.
speak to others.
Yep.
So it hasn't really sagged much, and I'd say over the last 6 months, it's actually picked up that slight drop anyway.
Look at
So
you,
people
eh? Well,
people
good.
are still watching television. It's still their now. I guess age demographics would kind of change that if you're focusing in on I don't know, viewers under 18 or 18 to 25 maybe, but viewers in our demographic profile tend to want to consume their products still on television, on a big screen, and although more and more are streaming, but still on a big screen. Big screen is still king.
It's nice.
At the end of the day.
It's great.
And that's what I mean, how can you put all that on a small screen?
True.
Let's be honest
So we
about it.
miss Reno then. That would not be fair to Reno over there.
Yeah, how come he's way over there?
Well, he's
like
the old stuff,
he's like
right?
a little afterthought. Eh? Oh, God love
the
him.
Reed Man, the Reed Man.
Listener feedback this week in response to the discussions that we had just recently on this very podcast about micro fishing
With Dr. Stephen
Dr.
Cook.
Stephen Cook.
Yeah.
And, the suggestion that he made that maybe if we're looking for alternatives, we might start thinking about the big European thing. And that is,
Just seems funny.
it does seem funny.
I mean, a fish as big as this pen would be a lunker.
Yeah.
That would be like a trophy of trophies right there.
And the equipment they use to catch that, it weighs about 20 pounds of the rod. Well, you and I picked them up in Europe when we've
Oh
been to
my
shows.
God,
Those things like you need you and a buddy holding that thing.
Yeah,
up.
they're crazy, some of those things. But
But anyways, comes to us from Laugh Out Loud Puppets via YouTube.
not Master of Puppets. No, it's Laugh Out Loud Puppets.
I wonder what that means. But anyways, Laugh Out Loud Puppets via YouTube says, I can tell you one thing for sure as a fly fisherman, it's awesome to try and catch small fish on small flies. And it's surprising when I use large flies that are more than half the size of the fish I'm after, and they're taking it. But I love catching smallmouth bass and all smaller panfish. Well, all right. Any comment?
all right.
Any comment to that comment?
well, he's saying that he enjoys catching small fish. He doesn't, like the microfishing. Maybe they're a little bigger than microfish, is what I think he's saying. All right. Now, Dean, you're a fly angler. I'm assuming that the fly fraternity, they're not looking for a 7-pound largemouth every cast, whereas Ange and I throw in our flipping gear. I mean, we got 20-pound test on. We want.
See, I came from it. I came to fly fishing from conventional, so I was I've been a big fish guy, anyways, and all the guys that I fish with out west we were like more streamer fishermen. So we were always
It's
trying
not purists.
No,
really.
definitely not.
It's not like a dry fly on the top. For
like
trout.
in rivers where some people would be fishing grayling, we'd be trying for bull trout, which is like
There you go.
that's
yeah.
frowned upon in the fly fishing community. So we weren't purists anyways. But there are people like who just want, they want that like as pure an experience as possible, and sometimes that's tiny fish on small equipment. So
But they wouldn't complain if they got a big fish on that.
definitely not.
No.
I remember probably my most memorable experience of dry fly fishing, small dry fly fishing, was on the Bulkley River in BC.
That's a long time
fishing
ago.
for wild steelhead. And man, that was a blast. The fly we were using was called
Oh boy, let's see how good this guy is here. Drum roll, Dean.
the Disco Dancer.
Come on.
Disco Dancer, and it was a fly that may
Disco
have
Dancer.
been made just for
Love it.
the drifting to Bulkley by good friend Pete Maychuk. God
Yes,
bless him.
yes.
Passed away a few years ago.
Petey.
This might have been a fly that him and his buddies, who were guides on that river, made. And
That sounds like something Pete would name like that. He'd do
yeah,
that name
yeah.
for sure.
It
And
was
laugh
cool.
about it.
It was cool. But we were catching big steelhead, big
No kidding, eh? On the
gnarly-
old disco. Eh? Wow.
on the old disco fly. Yeah. So, but no, I can understand it. Fly fishing in general, I really don't think. And I'm going to go for the large percentage of people who fly fish as their main angling pastime. I really don't think it matters what
Yeah.
they catch.
Yeah,
I
I
really don't think it matters if they catch. In a lot
that
of cases,
could be, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's the whole notion of, in a lot of cases, turning over rocks, seeing what the food base looks like, and then building your own fly right on the river, and
that's pretty cool.
matching it.
That's pretty cool.
And then
I like that.
just getting a fish to rise to it seems to be a big deal, right? So, which is fine. You wouldn't. I mean, I don't think it'd be the end of the world if you and I were fishing a stretch of water and we did that. We figured out what they were feeding on and we built it right there.
You'd be a sense of satisfaction for sure if you got it. You know, I was going to say, there's as much as we love catching our big fish, you know, like the muskies and the St. Lawrence and this and that and the other. I love going out perch fishing and crappie fishing too. You know what I mean? But I mean,
you're going to consume them.
Not always.
No, you go perch fishing and release perch.
I've done that before. More crappies than perch. More crappies.
You've never taken some home to eat.
Oh no, I have taken them home.
But on every trip that you went out for either perch or crappie, is there an actual outing that you can recall? You can be honest with us.
Of course.
Is there an outing that you went targeting either one of those two species where you did 100% release?
Oh, I can't. I would say no to that. But I have had instances where I will probably in the next month or so, where I will be fishing for other species and keep a panfish rod in the boat. And sometimes if I see a school of perch on the live scope, I've done this lately, and it's thrown out and caught them and thrown back, caught them, thrown back, caught them, thrown back. And then because I'm keeping pike or something else, I don't need the perch to eat. So I have done that before.
Okay.
But not very often. But I'm just saying, I do love catching small fish. You know, I love catching giants, but I like catching these little guys
But
too.
it's usually associated with consumption.
I'm not talking about that. I just enjoy catching them. I enjoyed the catch. Yeah, the bonus is filleting the sons of bitches and eating them. Yeah, sure. I guess, you know. Like if I got a 10, 12-inch speck, I'm going to eat that guy too. And I like catching him.
You would not.
Whatever size that you'd put, like a 10, I guess it'd be a 10. Yeah, 12-inch speck, a little on a creek. Yeah, filet mignon. Oui, monsieur. Or brown or rainbow.
All right, Daryl. Let's move on. Speaking of small fish, speaking of
Daryl's
Europe,
gonna hate us. I slagged him last week. You got him this week.
I haven't talked to him in a while. I got to reach out to him.
Yeah, give him a call.
Hopefully he's good. What were we? Small fish that they go after these tiny little fish in a lot of, especially a lot of competitions in Europe.
Yep.
Carp competitions are one, but they have a whole different division or
they weigh everything.
They weigh everything.
Yeah.
What's that called? Course fishing, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And they weigh anything that they come in contact with.
Fill that big long satchel that they got there, that big long live well they have in there. Yeah.
But carp is still king there, right?
Yep. I think so.
Not to be confused, by the way, in case you're watching this, say, well, wait a minute, guys, you're confusing me because you've been talking to us about this invasive species called the grass carp. Now you're telling me that in Europe they fish. No, it's a totally different animal. It's not the same.
Carp ain't carp.
Common carp or there's common and then there is the marble, right? Mirror. That's it. Those are the only real two carp that we're talking about in terms of that we have here and they have in Europe.
There's koi carp too. The half koi fish have carp. There are some mixed breeds going on too.
Yeah,
but
that's another one.
Yeah, and people do go for those, but it's very non-popular because it's just numbers, right? I
used to know how they came up with the mirror carp because that was synthesized. That's not a natural fish. I used to know that, but
I did too.
Like so many things, I've forgotten.
You forgot more nice than most of us remember.
It's kind of nice, though. You have to admit.
Happy Easter.
I'll tell you what's really nice now. What I'm enjoying now, you know how sometimes you're going through Netflix or Prime or whatever, looking for something to watch.
I know exactly where it is.
And you just can't. And you're looking in the new section, right? And there's nothing new. Like they don't put shit out often enough for me. And then every once in a while, I'll go to stuff that's not current,
popular,
and I'll say, "Oh,
I've
never seen that one before." And I watched the whole thing, and it's like I watched it for the first time, but then I realized, wait a minute, I've seen this before.
About 5 episodes in, something reminds you of that, saying, wait, what in the F is going on here? It's just deja vu. I got that one too,
That's
buddy.
the benefit of getting old. Anyways, grass carp are the invasive species in this part of the world. If you want to keep yourself apprised on the latest on this creature, you can certainly do your homework, be vigilant, and go to invasivespecies.com.
Invasivecarp.ca.
Or that too.
Yeah.
Do they still have the invasive species?
It will redirect you now. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
You'll end
So
up in
we
the
don't
same
need
place.
to,
So
we don't
I was
need
right.
to correct it. We just leave it at the old school one.
Absolutely. Go there and find out what you should be looking for coming up, and hopefully in the next few months, all of the white
Good
stuff in the ice will
God.
be gone,
I'm telling you.
and we'll be out in open water again. And check it out. Make sure you know what you're looking for, and if you see one, please report it immediately and let the good people that are in charge of that stuff do their job.
Correctamundo.
This episode is brought to you by Sail. Sail is proudly Canadian and stocked with over 100 Canadian brands you know and love.
From rods and reels to sonars to kayaks and every last lure you've seen on the Fishing Canada show, Sail has all the gear to get you on the water.
Drop into one of 12 stores across Ontario and Quebec and talk to the real fishing specialists, or gear up online anytime at sail.ca.
Sail, the ultimate destination for your outdoor adventures.
This episode is brought to you by Anglers Leaderboard and its Spot Mapper feature. Spot Mapper connects your catch data to your spots, allowing you to view your catch history. With Spot Mapper, your locations stay completely private. Only you can access them, so your favorite spots stay your secret. Learn more at anglersleaderboard.com. In the news, brought to you by J&B Cycle, Ontario, Canada, world's biggest Princecraft Mercury dealer of all time, since 1970, by the way, in case you were wondering.
That's a while back now.
Been around for a long time. They bring you the news, and what's in the news, Mr. Bowman?
News again. We're gonna talk about the sturgeon season in the U.S. of A. in Michigan. Again, it says it's called North America's shortest fishing season? ? The Black Lake sturgeon season is a tightly controlled winter fishery managed by the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, which we have reported on last year and I think the year before.
3 years in a row we've done this.
We've done this because it's always an interesting story and it's always different. The season typically runs in early February from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., but it closes immediately once the harvest quota is reached. The annual harvest quota is 6 sturgeon.
And we've discussed, now see, I remember now, we've discussed this at large before.
Yeah.
Is it 6 in total for that area? And if it is, how do they know?
It's on a
Honesty basis, right?
honor basis. Yeah,
Honor basis.
you have to. Everybody has to have the app on their phone.
So
or
as soon as you
whatever.
catch one,
You report it immediately.
but you can continue fishing, even though you caught that one.
If there's not 6 caught.
Yes, if you report in.
I don't know if you can allow if one. Well, you probably have a group of people, anyways. I don't know if you'd be allowed more than 1 sturgeon per person.
Yeah, it didn't say anything about
Doesn't
that.
say. I think what I recall from it, it's just a total of 6 fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, caught.
Doesn't matter who catches them.
So one guy catches all 6 of them. It's over.
He's a hero.
Wow, is he a hero?
Yeah.
Might be a targeted man.
I think everyone would hate you.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I guess guys are doing something wrong. You know, they're going to be calling them out on cheating or whatever.
That's an interesting concept, though, isn't it?
Very much
It's
interesting.
an interesting concept. Well, if you want to micromanage your fishery, it's just an incredible way to do that. If you know that 6 fish is the tolerance level that species has, and you want to micromanage it, and you want to make sure that you don't exceed that, this is perfect.
Yeah.
How you enforce it is a whole different ballgame.
This is the only way because also they have people out there
I was
kind
gonna
of
say.
monitoring it.
I was going to say there's definitely marshals out
Is it
there.
a short stretch of water, Dean? Do you know?
One
Yeah,
lake, isn't it?
they're all in one area.
This is
Like,
one
they're
lake,
all
I
in
believe,
shacks.
right?
Yeah.
So one body of water, and the fish are all in one area, and so it's fairly easy to be patrolled
Yeah.
by the local
DNR
constabulary.
staff, yeah.
And
And I think you only, and this is the one that was strange to me, is that because it's a very popular thing in the U.S., like not just there, there's all the northern states that have this going on. And you only need your regular fishing license, apparently. You don't need a special sturgeon license. That's a place to me where you could get your extra $25-$50 off a person, you know what I mean, to get some more money towards the research of that species.
Did you find out in your research, Dean, do they have a maximum number of people that are allowed to?
There doesn't seem to be, no. As many people.
So to your point, then that'd be a great way to fill the bank
bucks.
account.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just get some more money towards it, right? I mean, it's a big thing. I'm assuming, and I think I've seen it in a couple places where it's almost a party that night before, like it's a big event. You know what I mean? Everybody's together and they're having a great time. And
in 2024, the season closed within 2 hours.
Like that's. Could you imagine that? You're just getting ready to put your spear down that hole, and all of a sudden, whoop! Wait a second, she shut down, boys.
2025, it closed just 17 minutes later once 6 fish were harvested.
Yeah.
Wow. That's insane. But you know what? It'd be very competitive. It'd be a lot of camaraderie between the anglers.
Sure,
everybody's trying to prove that they're the ultimate sturgeon fisherman.
Yeah. And we were talking, Dean and I were talking about, obviously there's like, how do you regulate them not dropping that line or that decoy down there 10 minutes before 12:01 sort of thing, or like that.
Because it's between 8 and 2, right? So I would imagine that would be pretty, if it's a small confined area, it'd be pretty hard for anybody to do any cheating, because I'm assuming that
but if you just leave that spear down there, take your chances that a speared fish is down there for an extra 5 minutes. Okay, wait a second. Okay, now call him in, Billy. I don't know. But
interesting. Most fish that are harvested during this event have been previously tagged during scientific monitoring surveys. Wow. I know, as barbaric as spearing fish is, it'd be pretty exciting to see that big girl coming in, that decoy. They all run decoys down there. It looks like a sucker or something down there, and you see that big one coming in there. It's like they do with pike too, right? They do the same thing. So they're standing in the river. No, or lake? On a great big square hole, like a big hole in the hut. So there's a they drop a decoy. They drop, they try, and like it's a tractor, right, Dave? I think, So they drop it down, and it's weighted. It's sitting on the bottom, or just drifting, or floating, whatever. Suspended, right? Yeah. And then they wait for the fish to move in, and then boom, and then all hell breaks loose. Yep, that's exactly it. They wait for that right moment, and I have a difficult time with that part of it, obviously, because to me, sport fishing does not necessarily involve anything. Whether it's an arrow, whether it's a spear. To me, that's not sport fishing. That would be sustenance fishing to me, which is perfectly fine for sustenance fishing. But sport fishing, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they don't call it sport fishing, do they? Probably not. Maybe they don't, because they know they're dying, right? Yeah. So. And they are good eating. I will tell you've said that. I've never tried that. You smoke those babies? Oh, my God. I would love it. They're smoking them in that hole, I'll tell you, with that spear. Just sprung. Whew. What do we got? This week's fan question? Fan question. Next? We can move on to that. Sure. Let's do that. Submitted by Larry Wilson via Facebook. Yes.
And this is a similar comment. This was the one I pulled, but we've been getting this from a lot of different places. We've been getting phone calls. I think we've all been asked personally by people for some more details on what the show was, because the Wedgeport Canso episodes we did, we told the story and tried to capture the essence of the area a lot, and the fishing was almost kind of an aside, but people are really wanting to go down and immerse themselves in this, so we just wanted to provide a little more detail. Yeah, there's a case where if you do it at that time of year when the tuna festivals are going on, especially in Wedgeport, the fishing kind of it's great, but it's secondary because you're going to be just totally inundated with this incredible culture, all due to the tuna that's been going on in this country for 100 years plus. And so it's not just about the fishing. And those episodes, I think, did a really good job of depicting that. And that's why we're getting so many people wanting to get tuna information. But Larry wants to know, he was wondering the cost of doing a trip to try fishing for tuna. Any advice and recommendations? So the cost of doing the trip, first of all, is not just about getting on the boat and fishing. It's getting there, and then accommodations, food, and
all of that stuff.
Typical holiday.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. We won't go into that, but we will try and get you a little closer in terms of just the fishing part of it. Typical full day charter in most of the Maritimes, and I'm including PEI and whatnot is included in that. So we'll say it covers all of them. Anywhere between $1,600 and $2,300 per day. Or per outing, or is that just a
That's normally a daily rate.
It's a
for
full
the boat.
day.
Yeah.
a full day
Charter.
rate? Yeah. And now these are great big, gigantic boats.
Yeah, big
and
lobster
the
boats.
fuel consumption on these things, if you go a long way out, which sometimes you have to do, is pretty outrageous. So some of these prices reflect the fact that the cost of doing business for these captains and operators is insane.
Yeah.
And their insurance is insane when they start bringing customers onto their boats, et cetera.
Yeah.
But rule of thumb, $1,600 to $2,300, and that gets you the boat, right? That gets you the boat for the day.
It's the boat, the rods, the reels, the bait. Well, you're going to catch the bait as well. We can get into that afterwards. But yeah, it gets you everything you need for fishing. Lunches, you might have to bring your own lunch. You know what I mean? Something like that. Stop off.
A lot of that was
sub shop.
included in these as well.
Yeah,
So
so there you go.
a lot of the operators.
And that's for up to 7 people, by the way. That boat can be
So-
up to 7 people for the boat. So that splits up pretty good.
That is, the minute you throw 7 people into the equation, that automatically makes it one of the most cost-effective
Yeah.
guided charter trips that you will ever encounter.
Yeah, yeah. And Ann said their boats are big. 7 people on that boat.
Oh.
Oh my God, you won't even see each other if you want to hide out. They're so big. So yeah, it's a perfect size boat for something like that.
Now, it is highly regulated, very tightly regulated, as we've mentioned a million times on the Fishing Canada show and here on the podcast as well. So there are a lot of rules and regulations that you have to adhere to. In most cases, the captain of the boat, he's the one who kind of looks after all those do's and don'ts, and you really don't even notice them. He just basically winds you up and tells you where to go, and you're in good shape. If you do catch one, and you are on a catch and release program, because they do have 2 separate programs, you can do a catch and release program whereby you're fishing with barbless equipment, and all the equipment is designed to facilitate a quick catch, get your jollies, and then release that fish unharmed and back into the water. Although sometimes they will tag these fish, even the ones that you're releasing, right?
Yeah,
which is kind of it's kind of cool to watch.
It's great. You're
right?
working with the the DFO or whoever's doing that, right? So
Yeah. And if you don't want to go that route, there is another one. And I don't think it's as popular as the catch and release, and I could be wrong on this. And that is to go out on a commercial fishery where, now here's where it gets a little tricky. If you are on one of those commercial fishery charters, then you do need a special license for that, right? It's not just your regular fishing.
And I believe that's all up to the captain to make sure he has everything under control.
Okay.
So if you're getting set up with something like that, from what I've read and from what I understand, is that it's the captain's responsibility, one, to let whoever the authorities are, that they know that that's what the operation is for the day, and then that everyone has the proper licenses and paperwork and everything like that.
Okay. So you do have that option, and I would say most people today probably are going to opt for the catch and release, but
Especially because you should know, I know a lot of people think that if you go out on these charters, you catch a tuna, you're going home with 500 pounds of meat. That is not the case. It's so tightly regulated, and the captain's income is solely reliant on these things.
Yeah.
So
I believe the way it works is that each one of and by the way, there are under a dozen licensed operators in that part of Canada. So it's not like you got, a million to choose from. It's a finite amount of number of people, operators, captains that can do this. But the way it works for them is that they have a predetermined allotment of catch and release, we'll call them tags, if you will, and a predetermined allotment of catch and keep. And once they have sold all of those, their season is done. So if you kind of put it all together and do the math at $1,600 to $2,000, $2,300, whatever it is per day, per outing, these guys are not lining their pockets with gold like most people think. Because on a catch and release basis, their income is limited to whatever it is that you're paying them for that day.
That's right.
And it doesn't take much to do the math. $2,300 at the top end does not buy you a whole lot of fuel for that great big, huge, monstrous 60-foot boat.
Yep.
And the 2 or 3 people that it takes to operate that boat.
That's right.
So
It's not just the captain. He's got to have a first mate for sure, at least a first mate.
if they didn't have the opportunity to do some commercial fishing, they probably wouldn't be in business, because they certainly are not going to make money on the sport fishing part of it. Just so that you know.
And these tuna that they're catching, everybody's got this conception. It's a misconception that they're going to get $60,000, $120,000 for these fish. A lot of times these fish are like $6,000 or $4,000 or something like that. The quality of the meat is just not there at certain times, right? So it's not an ace in the hole where you're going to get rich. These guys are going to get rich on one fish or 5 fish if that's their quota. So
And their quota is based on numbers or total weight.
it's
Does
numbers,
anybody know?
isn't it, Dean? I think
It's numbers, yeah.
Used to be numbers.
See, I know we fished once with the indigenous community
That's right.
down in Millbrook.
Millbrook,
I think
right.
it was. And their quota was based on weight.
Okay.
It wasn't based on numbers.
I thought he had. Oh no, Millbrook didn't, but Sandy
Millbrook.
did.
Sandy did.
He had tags,
But
right.
but the band that owned the boat,
Right.
they were on a quota basis, a total weight. And
Okay.
I don't want to. I'm pretty sure it was. Oh God, I don't want to say it was 5,000 pounds, I think,
Okay.
which is pretty small when you consider that
that's-
the average
that's 7
tuna is
tuna or whatever,
exactly,
you know?
exactly.
See, I'm pretty sure it's numbers, because that's why I think the thing like with catch and release versus the harvest is a captain who's going to go out for harvest is going to go to the place with the biggest tuna possible, because it doesn't matter how big that fish is, you're burning your tag. So like a commercial guy wouldn't want to take people out to a place where there's just a ton of small tuna, right? Because you're going to burn tags on fish that aren't worth a whole lot.
I did not even think that was a thing.
I think so.
Really?
It makes sense. Like for these guys, yeah.
Yeah, but then if I want to go and indulge in the catch and release fishery, I got to think to myself, my chances of getting onto, especially somebody who's done it before, my chances of getting onto my personal best is going to be pretty slim, because the captain's not going to take me to the area that has big fish.
Yeah, but because I more view it like, if I'm a captain and I am trying to make some money, like,
Yeah.
like in the Wedgeport case, where all the big fish are 15 hours offshore,
Exactly.
but you're not going to drag a paying customer out there if they're not up for
You
it.
got that right.
So I wonder how that works. I know we, in the freshwater fishery, especially when it comes to bass and walleye, et cetera, we generally like to think that like-sized fish kind of hang out together. So what you're telling me is that is there any science that says big tuna only hang out with big tuna?
No, I just know my experience is limited to last year. But in Wedgeport, I know when we were talking to people, the reason people were going 15 hours offshore was because at that time of year, that's where the big ones were. And if you stayed near shore, you might get a big one, but it's normally smaller ones that are closer to shore at that time.
It's probably all about the migration too, migration routes, right? So if you're looking at our walleye here in Bay of Quinte, for instance, then you know that in the fall that migration comes from Lake Ontario into the Narrows and then into the Bay. So everybody concentrates on that one spot because that's the place where you can catch the biggest fish. You can fish Belleville area, but you're probably not going to catch those toads yet, right?
Or pike are a good example where they're in shallow during the year, and by midsummer you're not going to find a whole lot in the
find
weeds.
snakes in there. Yeah.
And now that I think of what I just said, how ridiculous it is, because because the chances of you hooking up with a tuna under 300, 400 pounds is probably pretty slim.
We saw one in our life.
We did see one. We did see one
Yeah.
in our experiences for the last decade. We did see one small fish under 300 pounds, but the majority of them are going to be between 300 and 500 pounds. Now, if you think that's a small fish, and if you think that wrangling that fish to the boat is not an experience that's going to stay with you the rest of your life, well, you're sadly mistaken, because whether it's 500 pounds or 600 pounds or 1,000 pounds, the incredible rush that you're going to get from that hookup is going to blow your mind.
And you're going to be tired afterwards.
Oh, yeah, and you don't want to fish again.
Trust me, you're going to be
You're done.
And another thing, and we've noticed this with tuna, is with every species of fish, is that 1,000-pounder might not fight as good as that 600-pounder. That 600 might beat the shit out of you compared to the 1,000-pounder. It comes in a lot easier. There's, each fish is different too. So,
well, case in point, the 600 and change, whatever that fish was that we caught recently on the last episode that's on, that was probably the toughest,
strong fish,
the strongest fish that I can remember.
Doing the circles under the boat, just getting. And he wasn't that big. Like, well, 600 pounds is big, but compared to what we've seen before and caught.
This is interesting that we're doing this exercise, because quite honestly, we've never really dwelled into this before about the costs of doing this. But now that I look at that, $2,000.
What's the Lake Ontario charter worth nowadays? You know these guys a little bit, don't you?
$500 or $600 would be a half day.
Half day,
and that's
for
mostly
the boat, right?
And that's
there's more for people too, isn't it, or no? Or is that just a flat rate for the boat? I thought they charged more for if you're going to add an extra person in there after a certain, no?
Oh, gee, they might. They have to.
I would think so.
Because they'll consume $500 worth of fuel just going out and back in, right?
Absolutely.
So maybe it is a person.
Yeah.
It's got to be based on
It's up there
person.
too, right? It's got to be up there.
So it's probably going to be in that $2,000 range for, say, 4 people.
Yeah, it is.
Four
So
to
the
6?
cost ranges from $749 to $949 depending on the boat.
Per person.
No.
That's
the boat,
the boat.
That's the boat.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So $1,000. I mean, compared to
$1,000.
still a little different than this, but the experience is different too.
And the boat, the equipment,
Everything
is
is
different.
different, yeah.
Just the cost of the 300-pound plus fishing line.
Oh my God, that's
they
right.
use,
We didn't even think of that.
because that's on a gigantic. I'm assuming that's 1,000-yard spool. Like
it has to be. I mean, they're so big.
maybe
It's
more
ridiculous.
than 1,000. I'll bet you that spool of line that they have to put on that reel, I'll bet you that sucker's $400 or $500
Oh yeah, for sure.
just for the
The
line.
leader they talked about,
The
and they
leader?
run fluorocarbon leaders at that 200-pound test, the leader material. I mean, you know what an 8-pound test costs us.
Exactly.
You know? So
And I know for a fact that those reels at the low end are $3,000, and at the high end can be up to $15,000.
and the rods are as much.
And the rods are as
They're
much. So
brutal.
So when you look at that fishery versus charter fishing here in the Great Lakes for salmon, it's not even remotely close. But yet, in terms of pricing, I think it's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
I actually talked to some guys down in Wedgeport, the Jacquards, who run 3 different boats out of there. And they were saying, because we were asking about the money because it wasn't really adding up to us either.
Right.
And he was saying for them, it's a passion. The lobster is where the money is, the lobster, the scallops and all that. And bluefin, they would be out there anyways if they could. And they're taking people out to experience it. And
Right.
Okay.
they're contributing
So
to the science portion.
It's not a business.
No, it's mostly a passion for these guys.
Right. And they have all of this massive equipment because their business is, as you just mentioned, lobster or whatever
Scallops
else,
or herring or whatever
herring
makes the money, yeah.
I got you. So this for them is just a love for the game, and
Yeah,
therefore they're
makes
willing
sense.
to share that experience with sportsmen from around the world who will come and give them a couple of grand to go out with them and actually touch and fight that rod with that fish. So yeah, I can that makes sense, because otherwise it would have to cost, I don't know, $5,000 to $10,000 to go out fishing with these captains.
Like, obviously these guys aren't looking at the prices of like high-end fishing resorts.
No.
Because they're
Good point.
if they started a little Airbnb and set themselves up, I mean, they'd be in that range. You're offering a pretty crazy experience.
I can guarantee you going to Costa Rica or any part of Central America or South America for that matter, or even Florida for that matter, bill fishing is going to cost you more than it is to go fishing for a bluefin tuna. That I can pretty much guarantee you that it's the bargain basement right now of all big game fisheries is the bluefin tuna fishing on the east coast of this country. I don't know how much longer it'll be there for that price, but right now it is a bargain at the prices that we've discovered. Now, it does have a very short window, so the downside to being such a cheap game, if you will, is that it fills up really quick. The window is from August to pretty much October, it's done. And it coincides with the harvesting or the migration of herring and mackerel. And so it's very, very, not only does it have a small window, but it's totally dependent on weather and temperatures. So, and we've been caught in that game before. We've gone down there before where we just missed that migration because of weather, because of tides, there's all kinds of things that affect it. So maybe that's the offset there is it's not that expensive, but getting there at the right time, right place on the right fish is probably a little more difficult than we're making it sound. And as the Fish in Canada show makes you feel it is. So there's a bit of a trade-off. But let me tell you, you could go out on one of these charter boats, as far as I'm concerned, and which we have, by the way, and never even catch a fish. And some of the most memorable ones that I can remember, one of them is that time we didn't catch anything, but the whole experience in itself was so off the charts that now the reason it was off the charts because we're a little bit weird this way. We really enjoyed the gnarly, the nasty weather. I mean, it was charged. It was energizing to be out in these massive waves, and this big, huge boat is just an inch from capsizing. Well, we're a little sick that way.
Our cameramen were a little sick that way too.
I think that's actually worth talking about, especially for people considering this.
I was just about to say, if you get seasick at all,
don't do it.
Motion sickness, do not go, because to guarantee yourself a flat day out there is like guaranteeing that this pen is whatever. I don't know. You can't guarantee it. It's just
not only are you not going to get a guarantee, but also a flat day out there is usually a bad day for anybody who has motion sickness, right?
Yeah.
Flat, like this tabletop, as we got one day this year, this past season, where we got into that flat as a mill pond. But that is like once in a million.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
It's rare.
Even what they call a flat day out there normally will make the average person.
Oh, man, it's not too bad out there, boys. Yeah, we're good. We're pretty good. Let's go.
But
you get out there, you're hanging on to everything. You can't walk anywhere.
Well, that was your first experience, Dean, at water that's a little bit.
Well, so I've been out actually. So I was going to say, I went out in Punta Cana when I was like 18 and I got seasick bad, but there was a hangover involved and some other factors.
That's
so this
important.
Yeah. So I actually went into this trip, like I had to like convince myself in the morning, like I am not getting sick because it's so much in your head.
It's all in your head.
If you leave the dock and say, what if I get sick? Maybe I'll get sick. You are done.
Did you have a beer the night before in Tuna?
No.
You didn't drink. I probably called you out on that, Dean. Yeah. Why are you going to having a beer with us?
I was good. I took the Craval, I wore the patches, it's all about, I think anyways, deciding that you're not going to get sick. Because if you let that thought enter your head for a second, you're done. You
see, I agree with you. I think maybe with some people, but our cameraman Rick, for instance, on this trip, Rick went in with a good attitude. I don't think he thought he was going to get sick, but he started looking through the camera lens and he started doing this and that and getting in that in the cabin area there and all that. And okay. Well,
have we ever had a cameraman that didn't get sick on any of these shoots?
So Rick on that one. Well, what about the Sandy Beardy?
Sandy, we had that was
that wasn't Gabe. That was PEI.
PEI, okay.
Who did we have on that? Because I don't think he got sick. Whoever it was, I don't think they got sick. maybe Mikey Mooring, maybe, I'm not sure who was on that.
Wow, just drew a blank.
Yeah.
So
But
we
I don't
did
think
maybe
I don't think they got sick on that. And there was a couple of rough days out there too.
It's very rare that somebody doesn't get sick on our crew. But I even though with the fear that might happen, I still don't want to deter people from the experience, because two reasons. Number one, it might not happen. You might not get sick. Chances are probably slim, but you might not.
If they load up on the right medicines to be prepared for it,
Yeah.
then it could help you a lot, right? So,
And the other part of that is that you might get sick for the day, but the next day you might not, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think
it's a flat day,
Rick was good after day one.
Rick was great after day one.
Yeah.
so was the water, though, gentlemen. Remember?
That's why. Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying. A flat note, and he was good. This episode is brought to you by Angler's Leaderboard and its photo measure feature. Angler's Leaderboard makes every catch count by integrating seamlessly with their patent-pending AI-enabled fish measurement board. Now you can automatically measure catch length and detect species in seconds just by using your smartphone camera. It's fast, accurate, and reduces handling. So now you can release healthier fish and keep fishing for the big ones. Learn more at anglersleaderboard.com.
But I just love that power, the surge of those big waves. There is something in those that I love it.
Oh, no, you weren't on that shoot, I don't think. One shoot, I think it was Reno and I and Todd, many, many years ago. I think we were shark fishing on the East Coast.
Out of Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
I wasn't on that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Dartmouth and that. And my God.
Halifax or something.
Yeah. And the waves, and Todd and I went up on, they had a flying bridge, and we climbed up on that stupid ladder, and Reno was giving us shit. Don't you do that. And we climbed up, and we literally had to sniper across the floor to get to bench and the steering wheel there and we were up on the top of that thing, and we were just, oh my God, it was insane. We did about 5 minutes of it, and then we said, let's get the hell down there before we die, sort of thing. So that was a crazy day on the water. And that picked up. The day started nice, and then all of a sudden, boys, we better start heading home. And you know how fast that comes on. Like 10 minutes is from flat, like this TV screen, to as high as this room. Yeah. It's craziness out there. So,
especially later in the year in that window,
the fall,
October,
those nasty days, and it's cold out too. I was going to say another thing that's fun on these tuna charters is usually the guys will have pre-fished for mackerel and bait, but they'll always stop and you can try and catch more bait. And they get these spinning rods out there with these 4 little flies on it, like that are sitting down there, and you drop it down, and sometimes you catch nothing. Then all of a sudden, boom, there you go, and you got 4 mackerel on at one time. You did that too, Dino, eh?
Yeah.
It's fun doing that.
It's very cool.
Yeah, it's just neat catching these silly little mackerel. It sounds like it's dumb on a tuna charter, but it just adds to the whole experience.
Yeah.
So.
And the chumming, I noticed when I was looking at these charters, because I was trying to look. You guys did that a few years ago, where the boat would go out and you're chumming just to get the fish in the area. It's not necessarily always tuna, but there's lots of fish coming in.
You got to coincide with that last day of the harvesting of the
herring.
Okay.
Because that's what draws those big school of predators. Otherwise, it's like a needle in a haystack, right? You got a big, huge ocean that's 600 feet deep or whatever.
Okay.
You have to be at that perfect opportunity of the nets being lifted. You got to follow that. You got to go find that fleet of commercial fishermen who are lifting their nets for their final time for that season. And as they're lifting those nets, the bait's just pouring out of thousands of pounds of herring or mackerel, and it's just drawing every predator, including great whites. Now, especially recently, and that's when you can actually get a bucket of the bait from those boats, and you can literally hand feed these giant bluefin tuna, and it's what to this day that's still at the top of my experiences.
They actually even do tours for the tuna feeding that Ange is talking about.
Yeah.
There was a boat across from us back in that shoot, and they had about 6 or 8 people on board, and they were all throwing these herring out, random throws of herring, and all of a sudden, whoosh, this big Bruce 1,000-pounder, Bruce 500-pounder, and they're just watching it, and the people were thrilled to death watching these giant fish eat the herrings. So I'm sure that's a charter that they pay for to get out there,
Yep.
right?
For sure.
So even if you don't want to catch them, you can go out and just have fun with them like that. So
all in all, I guess I want to conclude this by saying, if you have that itch, because it's not for everybody, but if you have that itch, certainly the price should not deter you from experiencing it, because at these prices and at the prices of accommodations and food, let's not even go there. It's just an incredible experience there too, by immersing yourself in that East Coast cuisine and all the little mom and pop places that sell stuff and meals and whatnot. That whole thing is just puts it over the top, but it should not be the price that scares you on this trip, because whatever you do, you're going to get 10 times the value that it costs to do it. And a great family opportunity, maybe, depending on the age of kids. I don't know whether I would take little wee kids out there.
No, but teenagers.
Yeah. You want to see a smile on a kid's face. Hook them up with a bluefin tuna, and that kid is done. He's done
and
for life.
If you have kids there, don't think that it's just, if you watched our shows, you'll see the way we catch them, because there is the opportunity to put the fighting chair in the back too and sit in the fighting chair. But the kid wouldn't be, that would be too much probably for a kid. That's pretty much an adult job, or a strong, an older kid. But they put the rods in the rod holders otherwise, and you don't have to hang on to the rod. You basically just have to reel and pull on the line and whatever. Two people can do that. So if you had a father-son, father-daughter combo, and the father was pulling the line, come on, Billy, reel it in.
Crazy.
Be fun like that. You can put them in the fighting seat, but I'll tell you what, somebody else better be with them, and you better strap them in good. Oh God! So.
No, we'd highly recommend it, obviously.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Now that I see, and I really hadn't gotten into this before, but now that I see what the costs are associated with experiencing that, it's a bargain. One thing I will tell you, I said it a few minutes ago too, is that it is a small window. And there are finite numbers of these licenses that the operators can sell. So if you don't want to be disappointed, I'd be looking, maybe I'd give yourself a 2-year window. I would try for example, if anybody listening to this just got cranked up and wants to do it, investigate the possibilities to get out there this year. This August to October, but more likely you'll have to book it for the following year, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
People book vacations 2-3 years. They book cruises 10 years in advance. So this should not be any different. It's that big of an experience.
Yeah, and then you plan your vacation around that too, right? You make sure that you got other stuff to do, and you got those couple of days set aside for tuna fishing, and do the rest of the week sightseeing. So,
but anyways, it's a blast. Highly recommend it. If you haven't seen the 2 episodes that we're talking about that prompted all of these questions that we've answered today, you can go to our YouTube channel and check it out. The first episode is the Wedgeport Tuna Festival, and then the second one is Canso, I think.
Yep,
Dean?
that's right.
Canso tuna fishing. So we did them kind of at the same time. We had a couple of our guys, Dean and Steve Niedzwicki, were doing the tuna festival at Wedgeport, and then on the other side of the province of Nova Scotia, we were Pete and I and Nick were in Canso. And the interesting part about that shoot was that it kind of coincided with that massive hurricane, that big weather system that moved through the Atlantic Ocean, Aaron, I think it was called.
Yep, Hurricane Aaron.
Hurricane Aaron. And so we were right there kind of wondering, are we going to be able to get out, not get out? Is the hurricane going to finally make it up the eastern seaboard and right into the Maritimes? And fortunately for us, we got it. The first day was the tail end of it.
Yeah.
And then it was the weirdest thing. And I stated this on the episode because it just went like crazy to flat.
Yeah.
Out in the Atlantic Ocean, which was weird. But the whole system had moved through, and it sucked all of the life out of the winds and the storm, and what was left was just like this table. The Atlantic Ocean was like this table.
Nice.
Never seen that before. It was
It was to the point we could troll topwater baits, troll those squid rigs.
Remember that? It was a blast.
That just showed up like crazy.
Did
on
we
that
even
flat
put up
one.
a kite? Was there
I don't
enough
think
wind?
we
to
Not
could.
fly
that
it?
day.
No?
They couldn't. He tried.
Couldn't even fly a kite.
No.
So one of the cool ways that these operators will get you fishing is with a kite, and it's really interesting. They'll put out this big kite. I don't know, 4 feet by 6 feet. It's a massive kite, and they'll tether the line with the bait onto the kite so that it can take the bait way, way away from the boat. And they're only limited to the amount of line that they have on that kite rod and the winds. And they'll take that way out to the side of the boat, and it'll fish like so far away from the boat that the boat will not have any chance of spooking any of the pods of school, especially when the tuna are moving around in pods and they're up near the surface. This is one of the only ways that you can catch them. And that kite fishing in itself is worth the price of admission.
We've never got one on it yet.
Never
have we?
caught one on it. We've put it out so many times.
Yeah.
We've never we're fortunate enough. And this time is the first time we've ever caught them on a top water bait,
Squid rig,
basically.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
incredible experience.
Yeah, very cool.
All in all, highly recommended. If you have any further questions on that we haven't covered on this podcast, by all means, send them in to us, and we'll certainly try to answer them.
Yeah.
And
leave us a comment on the YouTube episode itself. Anyway, you just there's a variety of ways to get a hold of us, so we'll be glad to try and attempt to answer it.
hopefully we got it all covered in record time, by the way.
Look at you, Jimmy?
Record time.
Aye.
Anything else, Dean, that we need to contests or anything?
We have a live scope that, as this is airing, I don't like saying this
I know.
because things always change. As this is airing, it should be out this week. That may be edited out, but I think it will be out this week.
It'll just edit out the part. It will be out.
Yeah.
And then the blank.
Yeah, if you
Beep
just
it.
if there's a blank there, it's because it wasn't out. So there
Yeah.
you go. And of course, that contests are all brought to you by our good friends at J&B Cycle and Marine. The place you need to go, whether you're buying or not, if you just want to immerse yourself in boat, motor, trailer packages because you're curious about pricing or what's available, that's probably the website you should start with. And yeah, it is predominantly Princecraft packages, but I'm saying that like that's a bad thing. It's not. It's where you want to be.
Good thing.
G&B Cycle and Marine, good folks. We'll
We got lots
look
of
after you.
what they call non-current used items too, right? Of different makes and models too. So there's lots of that there too. So
Speaking of which, our new boat, I understand today,
we got an email today about
that
that.
it's what,
almost done.
2 weeks away. It's
Yeah.
almost. We're excited,
Look at us. Woo!
and we're going to do some new trickery on this boat. that we haven't
Tomfoolery.
done. Some tomfoolery on this boat. Keep an eye out for that. All right, that are it. On behalf of the entire crew, he is Peter Bowman. That's Dean Taylor. I'm Angelo Viola, saying thank you very much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time around. This episode of Outdoor Journal Radio has been brought to you in part by the Invasive Species Centre, protecting Canada's land and water from invasive species. Freedom Cruise Canada, rent the boat, own the memories. And J&B Cycle and Marine, your home for all things power sports, boats, and equipment.